Welcome to the Random Wrestling Review.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever Random Wrestling Review, and I'm sure you're all as excited as we are to look through the annals of wrestling history and talk about the crap that's happened in the last week. Let me first start by introducing my team. I've got all the way from Rotterdam, adding a European uppercut to the pod. It is the man simply known as Dutch.
Hello.
And of course, then we've got the pod's youngest member who has less hair in his balls than Ric Flair has world titles. It's Gav.
Hello.
And the man who would have gladly stuck his hand inside the rock whether his intestines were sticking out or not, it's Rob.
Some intro, cheers.
And Mr. Ratings, Mr. Sex Pest himself, Alan McKenzie.
I take liberty of that.
Well, I only report truth. So guys, we're all excited for the first ever Random Wrestling Review podcast.
Woo.
Oh, you could fucking cut the excitement in the air. But before we get to tonight's main attraction, which is Survivor Series 2003, let's talk about the past week in professional wrestling.
It's time for Review of the Week on Random Wrestling Review.
So Alan, you're going to give us a rundown on what happened this week on Monday Night Raw?
Right. Well, Raw came from London, so it was coming over as pre-tape, which I always don't enjoy as much because I think they've edited out the crowd a bit. But come on, they started with. Did everybody watch this? Aye.
Aye.
But what
Question
started
is,
with,
why did they not play this live for us?
Well, they never
all the
did.
time.
right, exactly.
They should be playing it live for us.
No.
Twice a year.
Well, I don't think they wanted it to fucking interfere with Man United, Aston Villa, but they could have easily had it on for us to watch.
I think they're a bit put off doing live stuff from the UK because of like insurrection and rebellion. They were never popular ratings wise for back in the States, so I think that kind of put them off.
But they could still play it live here and then
Aye.
play it in a delayed transmission over there.
I suppose they'll go with excuse for we don't want people to know it's happening, but people already fucking know already, so
That's why WrestleMania, I doubt, will be here for the foreseeable anyway, because of the time zone.
Don't think we'll ever get that here, to be honest.
probably not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right, well, it started off with Heyman in the middle of the ring, basically just running down HHH, but that was after he called him a first ballot Hall of Famer. Well, Triple H is probably the safest bet for a Hall of Fame fucking induction of anybody that's even going just now. Runs him down, Triple H down, says he's not going to be there, but what I found hilarious about Heyman was he did the line about himself, he had a reputation as a liar, and then was saying he had no idea where he got that from. That was quite funny. Then all of a sudden, Triple H, music hits, the crowd apparently go mental. He comes out, points to the email that Heyman showed and said he lied, and then answers Heyman's challenge and pedigrees him in the middle of the ring. So Triple H beats up a 45-year-old manager. What a man. What do you guys think of Triple H? Do you think he's just a cock?
Well, I've absolutely no desire to see Triple H and Brock Lesnar stumble around a steel cage.
Neither have I. I would rather Brock was against someone that we could actually have a decent match
Yeah.
with. Because Brock, see what people forget about Brock is he's a fucking amateur wrestling champion, for fuck's sake.
Aye.
You can actually see when you, as we'll go on later on, see when you see him back in this period, 2002, 2003, he was brilliant. Suplex galore, etc. Now, well, moving on. R-Truth has got his old gimmick back.
Oh, Christ.
That stupid what's up pish when he comes out, and that's absolutely fucking boring as hell.
What's
And
wrong
he
with little
beats.
Jimmy?
The crowd loved that, though. The crowd loved his old singing and his rap. They were
Conspiracy. But I liked Conspiracy R-Truth better. Now when he came out in the Confederate uniform and everything.
Aye.
R-Truth was
But what about
brilliant
Kate
like
Quick?
Aye, K-Quick, aye. And Road Dogg.
that. I thought you said Katie Vick there. Right, well, R-Truth was in a match with Cesaro, and no prizes for guessing who actually won this. as the burial
Jimmy.
of Cesaro continues.
Oh, Jimmy.
Cesaro just loses it again.
You need to feel sorry for Cesaro. This was a guy that they were really pushing, and then for some reason Vince just went, "No, fuck it, don't like him."
Can't be arsed, I'll just go and push that fucking idiot Fandango.
Well,
that was a wee bit of bait for Gav.
yeah.
Then you've got the arrival of the Shield in a helicopter for some reason.
I thought that was fucking hilarious, especially when they had to get into a car to go to the arena. So what was the point of the helicopter?
I thought it was quite weird that they actually showed the registration. I know this isn't a big point to a lot of people, but they showed the registration plate of the Jeep. Well, that's a great shot, WWE. You've just opened yourself up to some complaints, but there you go.
That was right out of 1995 WCW when, fuck it, instead of just letting them arrive at the arena, we'll get a big helicopter and that'll do it.
That was a wee bit before my time.
Aye.
Wasn't even born.
Oh, fuck up.
Then you got a segment between Dolph and AJ, and they foreshadow AJ winning a Divas Battle Royal, and saying about AJ should have her own title, so they could be a sort of power couple. Then I thought this was pretty weird. It goes to Big E, and he gives a sort of funny look, and then basically Dolph says to him, just bugger off.
I think that's teasing a feud with them.
Aye.
I think so.
One of them's going to babyface, and it's going to be a feud down the line. Because I think they're giving him for a future champion in Big E.
Yeah.
That's why he's there, Big E, isn't it? He's there for turn Ziggler face, maybe.
Yeah.
But is Big E Langston not a fucking face in NXT though?
It was.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
Is he not still the NXT champion?
Aye.
Oh, he is.
Aye.
I think so.
I don't watch NXT, but there we go.
It's actually not bad.
It's better than SmackDown.
Nah, well.
I don't watch SmackDown either.
SmackDown's quality.
Two
I don't watch
pissheads.
it, but
Two pissheads fighting in Socky Hall Street's better than SmackDown though, so.
not a lot of people might get that. Right, then Vicky and Brad Maddox, or Bricky as we want to call him up here, tell Dolph that the match with Jericho later on the night, if Jericho wins, it's going to be a fatal 4-way instead of a triple threat. I've got a note here, the Bryan and Kane segment, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Daniel Bryan's just absolutely brilliant. Asking Kane to phone take her. Kane said he doesn't have a cell phone. Bryan shoves his notes in Kane's chest, screaming he's got diagrams. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
That was just ripping off Jericho's man of 1,002 holds. So he's going, my holds, I need my holds.
Right, armbar number 4, armbar number 5, armbar. And Kane warns Bryan not to give Taker a hug, which I thought was quite disappointing that we never actually got to see that. I'd have loved to have seen Bryan attempt that.
We need to see the Taker and Daniel Bryan hug at some point.
Jericho and Ziggler have a match. I thought it was a good match, but what I hate to see when you actually have these matches, like two competitors, let's going head to head, and then they have a fucking ad break right in the middle. I know Raw's fully ad breaks, but it's an ad break right in the middle. You can't actually get involved in the match. You start building up, and it just fucking cuts the break.
Yeah.
You do if you have the app.
Oh fuck.
Gav, did they advertise the app, by the way? I've not
Oh
seen
yeah,
them,
they done a big advert last week, and they done one after the advert for that. Then they might have done one when I was doing a shite, but I don't know. They done an advert for the app on the app.
Did they actually? I wasn't surprised.
I think the crowd in this one took it. I think the crowd in this match took it away from how good the match actually was.
Yeah, I agree. Aye.
Tried to be a copycat of the New Jersey crowd.
You were in Jersey, weren't you?
Yes, I was there. I was at WrestleMania and Raw. I mean, it was just all these songs. I think even down from obviously the Fandango and just down to the "We Are Awesome" chant. It was just a copy of trying to copy the New Jersey crowd.
I thought the "We Are Awesome" chant was so cringy.
That's what I was just about to say. I mean, they hadn't done anything to say that. If you said it at the end of the night, if you've been singing all night, it'd be alright, but they were pish, I thought. Just pish.
I hate wrestling crowds that become self-aware and self-involved, and I mean, I love ICW crowds can be guilty of it sometimes as much as I love going to the event, but when the crowd like start to think they're bigger than what's actually going on, it just pisses me off.
I mean, at least in New Jersey, it was kind of random. It was just as it came along. It was just, and it was like novelty.
What actually pissed me off about the crowd in London was that they were totally silent for the Road Scholars against the fucking Hip Hop People matches, and then they started chanting random shit during the Jericho and Ziggler match and totally took away how good a match that was.
I know. I think they started about 3 JBL chants alone.
Aye.
So I mean, obviously try to copy it down to the exact chant. So it was a bit strange.
I think it all depends. On the actual the situation. I mean, you look at you would have said, Rab, that after Ziggler's cash in that the crowd went up even bigger and just kept going. Did you say that?
Absolutely. That's because basically the crowd was pretty hot already, but then obviously you've seen the reaction that Ziggler got, and from that moment on, I mean that was at the top of the first hour.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the show, it was just a continuation. It was a good vibe in the arena. Then all the randomness happened, and obviously at top of the second hour it was that fucking abomination with ginger pubes and fucking Randy Orton. But then that's when all the random chants. But it was.
But see, at that time, I was in the house watching it, right, and I'm jumping up and down when Ziggler cashed in. It was a great moment, and the crowd made it. But that crowd was without getting to see Lesnar or Punk or even Heyman out in front of the live crowd. See if Heyman was in front of the live crowd, God knows what would have been chanted.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
Yeah, it was. We basically didn't get in New Jersey. We didn't really get any. I mean, obviously it was announced in the arena that The Rock wasn't going to be there because of his injury. So that's why Lesnar wasn't there. Then it was just there was no big stars, no Triple H or anything. So
do you think Triple H would have got a great reaction, or do you think he would have been booed? Or
no, he would have got booed. I would say
he actually gets quite a good reaction in New York area.
There was a Shield promo, and noticed about this is they've decided to actually do what they should do with Reigns and take the mic off him and just have him stand there looking like an absolute beast, which is because you've got Rollins and Ambrose that can do the chatting, and Reigns can just be the big difference maker.
What I don't understand about the Shields promo is that they're clearly getting interviewed by a WWE cameraman in $1 billion production company, but they can't keep the camera still, or in focus, or steady.
I think that's for effect, though.
But it's cheesy.
Logic.
I think they're quite impressive, these promos.
I like the promos
I like them.
as herself. I just don't like the camera work. I'm probably just looking a bit too much into it, but the camera annoys me when it's fucking moving all about the place and stuff.
Do they not do that when they come into the ring, though?
Aye,
well?
We are they, and they come from the same bit every fucking week. Aye.
Did you see the other week? That they went to the Shield, and then obviously they didn't mean to. Remember they were ready to come out for the Cena Ryback when they attacked Cena, and Ryback just stood there after they showed the Shield. And they were obviously like, oh fuck, should I have done that? Foley get an interview. He get asked a question about the difference between just now and the Attitude Era, and he just totally blanked it and went on talking about Ryback.
It's a bit of a stupid question, isn't it?
I know, it was just a totally random question.
It's got no relevance to Ryback or anything. So
yeah, exactly. It was just Foley does have a DVD coming out, so
which will be really good.
Can you get some plugs? I don't know. What is it, For All of Mankind? It's called.
Yeah, For All Mankind.
Oh, that should be quite good. Shield against Taker, Bryan and Kane. I thought after Bryan and Kane get attacked by the Shield that they were just going to have the Undertaker come out, get attacked by the Shield, and then they wouldn't actually have the match.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do that, but they actually had it. The Shield, see their tag team style. It's still impressive to this day. How many matches that they've had? 4 or 5?
4 or 5 as a tag team.
Oh, I really like the quick style changing it. It stops it from getting bored. Stops me getting bored when I'm watching it. If they just keep changing and changing, there's good contrasting styles as well, I would say.
Yeah, well, Ambrose and Rollins are great workers, so you're going to get a good match out of them when you put them in the ring. And Rollins is a fucking fantastic bumper.
Mm-hmm. I think Reigns is pretty solid in the ring as well. For his size.
He's not terrible. I mean, you couldn't say he's bad.
No.
No, I think
I
he
think they're going to
plays
get the
the.
titles.
Aye, eventually somewhere down the line, aye.
But I think they're going to do a sort of Spirit Squad-esque one where any two of them can defend them.
Freebird rules, aye.
Aye. The Foley Ryback face-off at the end. I thought Ryback's promo was actually alright here, considering what he usually comes up with.
It's just because he enunciates every word and makes it dead deliberate, and it just sounds silly.
But I think the I was shocked. I was taken aback when he called Mick Foley a fat, pathetic, lazy bastard.
No, that was funny.
I didn't expect that to come out. And I've just got a point, right? I'm sure you guys will see it, but Cena gave Foley a chair. Would it not have made more sense to give Foley Barbie?
Why Barbie? I don't get it. Oh wait, barbed wire fucking.
The barbed wire
right.
bat, for fuck's sake.
I thought you meant the fucking big doll. I was like, what?
I didn't mean give him a Barbie doll and go out. I mean, no, because Foley can barely hold up the fucking chair. He nearly falls over every time. I mean, you see him walking to the ring and he's decrepit.
Oh, he can. Well, as you said, I was saying, during the stand up, he can basically. Well, he can't stand for any length of time. He needs to have a stool when he's doing it.
I was at his comedy show the other
stand
night
up,
and he
yeah.
was struggling to stand up for any prolonged period of time. He was sitting down a lot, so he's not in the best of shape.
Bit of a bad move calling it stand up then, isn't it?
What?
Thanks. And I thought this finish was fucking mind-boggling a bit. They bring out the Shield, Cena teases walking away, and then Cena saves Ryback from getting attacked, and then Cena FUs Ryback, attitude adjustments.
Aye.
Ryback. I didn't get the finish.
It's not really a babyface finish, is it?
No.
The kind of thing a babyface would do.
Well,
I thought.
how many times have we said this, though, that Cena does something that isn't what a babyface does? And
I hate Cena.
I hate Cena. Well, I don't hate Cena. I hate his gimmick.
I mean, I have so much respect for the guy for all the work he does behind the scenes, but as a character, he gets on my tits.
I'm not one of these guys that says that John Cena can't wrestle. He clearly can wrestle, and he's got.
He's the best. I agree. The best probably top 3 matches in the past since 2011 is Punk Cena at Money in the Bank. These are my favourite anyway. That match they had on Raw in Texas the other couple
Night of
months ago.
Champions.
Night of Champions.
And Night of Champions as well. Those 3 matches. They were brilliant.
I mean, is it the level of a Daniel Bryan or a Chris Jericho or a CM Punk? No, but he's good.
But I think it depends though. If Cena's booked against someone that they get the same amount of offense in each, rather than someone battering Cena and then Cena hitting 5 moves and winning.
Aye.
See if Cena gets the same amount of offense as someone else, it works much better.
I mean, he managed to get a good match out of the Great Khali One Night Stand 2007 or whenever it was. So if you can get a good match out of the Great Khali, you're doing something right.
I never thought that's a sentence I'd hear in my life.
No.
Cesaro did on NXT. He got one off Khali, or was it main event?
Yeah, it was main event, aye.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was more just around the spot of him hitting the neutraliser, really, in the actual match.
Khali's just a joke now. It's quite weird seeing a guy that's 7'4" being a joke. They will just release him.
He basically just makes lots of money in the Asian market, and that's the only reason he's there.
I don't feel sorry for the guy though. Feels like he's just about to hit his legs and he just looks like he's about to collapse.
Aye.
I don't really feel sorry for him because the guy got given a clean win over the Undertaker, if you remember, and now look what's happened.
That's right, aye. Remember he used to
Waste.
he used to squeeze people's heads and fucking basically squish them.
And chop them in the head as well.
He basically just Rey Mysterio at one point.
Oh, it was weird as fuck.
Aye.
Was that
I didn't
when
like it.
Mysterio and Batista were having their wee thing?
Aye, when they were going through their breakup. You were supposed to be my friend.
It's not you, it's me.
Aye. Right, well, that was Monday Night Raw, and of course the other big event this week prior to today was Dean Ambrose taking on Undertaker in SmackDown, which is awesome for Ambrose getting to go 1-on-1 with Taker. It was a decent match, and it just built up more this. What's the direction they're going in Extreme Rules? It's going to be the Shield against the Brothers of Destruction and Daniel Bryan in some form.
you think Taker will
Well, I
wrestle again at Extreme Rules?
I think so. I think he's in the best shape he's been in years.
And that's why I'm surprised that match happened on Raw.
Yeah, same.
Aye.
But I don't know if they'll...
I was wondering why give that away? Why give that away in free TV? When we could have had
They could put another spin on it for the pay-per-view though, like make it a tables match or fucking something, you know.
But they might just go for Rollins and Reigns against
Team Hell No.
Hell No and Ambrose and Undertaker again.
Aye.
I think, see if you're having, like, see for next year, whoever, or we all think it's going to be Cena that Undertaker goes against for the streak.
I don't think.
Right.
I'm not sure if they'll do that next year.
But well, let's just say whoever Undertaker's going against for the streak next year,
Aye.
I think you need to have him face that guy at SummerSlam or Survivor Series and have the guy win, so that it looks as if Undertaker can be beaten.
It'll be streak versus
That's what I
streak
think
at
anyway.
WrestleMania.
I'm really
Cena
worried about
against
that. Aye.
No.
Well, it looked like it was going to be with the news coming out of WWE today that John Cena's got an ACL injury, which is going to put him out for some length of time anyway.
Kept Edge out for 7 months.
Yeah, it's the exact same injury apparently as well. So,
Cena's injured.
aye, Achilles ligament injury.
I don't think
So-
Punk will get his time off then.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well. Aye.
Just bring Punk back and give him the belt for forever.
No,
Either that or give it to big Super Wade Barrett.
But if you
Who's the man?
give it to even Punk or Ryback now, who's the face to go up against them?
Sheamus.
Don't give it to Ryback.
Sheamus, probably.
No, Sheamus can't be
Nice.
allowed to go for. Sheamus can't be allowed to have any sort of success in the WWE. I'm sorry, I'm just going to accept it.
But that's when you look
That's
at
their next Cena though, isn't it?
aye,
He's born.
yes, Bob.
He's so bad. Honestly,
He's good in the ring.
feel-
Yeah, he's not bad in the ring. It's just again, it's his character.
The cheery, let's all go to the pub,
Aye,
Irish
fella,
guy.
fucking every second word.
I don't like.
I've never met an Irish person that says fella so many times, if at all.
No, I'm not a big fan of Sheamus at all.
But it's going to be interesting to see, well, this Monday what direction they're going to go with the WWE title picture, mate.
Put it on Mark Henry.
Just for lols.
No, Mark Henry as a heel, his run as a heel as world champion was absolutely fantastic.
Get
That's what I
Shaniqua
think
back.
Shaniqua with the Backing Brothers.
Aye.
She was an animal, man.
So, did anyone watch Impact this week?
I read about it.
What happened? I didn't watch it. I can't bring myself to sit down and watch Impact for an hour and a half.
Is there not a tables match or something? I seen that on Twitter with Bully Ray talking about Hogan going through a table or something like that. That's all I've seen.
Is Brooke Hogan with Billy Ray now as like the heel Triple H and
Not
Stephanie McMahon? Not yet, no. Is that the direction they're going in though?
You'd think so.
Aye.
Personally, I
But
don't.
Hogan was meant to face Billy Ray in the main event, but Aces and Eights spoiled that. Then Sting came
Hogan?
back. Aye.
Hogan is oh god.
And,
Hogan's going to win that title.
I'm
Morgan
surprised he's
put
not
a
winning
pretty
yet.
decent promo as well, apparently.
Matt Morgan. I preferred him with his starter gimmick.
So did I was about to say. Who was it he protected? Was it Carlito he protected?
No,
Carlito
had
Aye.
Joey Ryan.
Carlito had some big. No, I'm thinking of John Cena's bodyguard. Was it Carlito who protected?
I know Carlito had Jesus.
Aye, that's what I'm
Who
thinking of
stabbed
Jesus.
Cena, apparently. Remember he apparently stabbed Cena.
PG.
And Cena was out for a whole 3 weeks after being stabbed. I remember that.
Zack Ryder breaking his back and back in 2 months was pretty stupid.
If we're going to talk about John Cena being out, he got sacked and he was back within a week.
I just hate them doing that thing. It's not believable at all. At least with Punk, you can sort of believe that he does hate the people he works for and would just fuck off.
Aye.
You know, but not Cena. It's embarrassing. It's like Triple H coming out of retirement to have a retirement match.
Logic.
You know,
I mean, why would Paul Heyman ask for that? Why would he not ask for like control of the company or something? Or control of Raw?
See, I thought he was going to come out and say that your career. I thought he was going to come out next week and say, "Oh, we're not talking about your in-ring career. I mean your career as COO, and I'm taking over," or something like that.
They done the exact opposite. They made it clear that it was his in-ring career, not his behind-the-scenes career.
But Cole said that. Cole said he could lose his position, and Heyman also said you won't be able to. You're going to let down the board of directors because you can't fulfil your duties anymore.
I think Heyman was meaning that though, that Brock Heyman's going to beat him down in such a state where he won't be able to piss properly, basically. So.
Well, that's the way it should. That's the way it should have happened, rather than Brock Lesnar losing to a guy that hasn't wrestled since SummerSlam.
Well, hopefully that's the way it's going to go now.
But it was the same for Brock, hasn't he? Wrestled since SummerSlam.
Can we just make it clear that that's in storyline? We're not actually hoping Triple H, becomes a vegetable in real life.
Speak for yourself.
Did you see that about? Do you know all the white stuff that was on his body at WrestleMania?
Yep.
Semen.
No, do you know what that actually was?
Semen.
It's not ice.
It was
dry ice.
Dry ice, and it gave him 3rd-degree burns on his arms and his torso.
Did you see Lesnar's face? He was just like, what the fuck is that on you?
But that's what chest? I want to know. Who the fuck was a genius? And the WWE decided, right, we'll get this big machine and blow dry ice directly onto somebody's skin.
So Triple H walked out too quick.
All right, was that it? Oh.
He just thought.
What was it? CM Punk called him Doofus son-in-law.
No.
Right. So, did anyone watch the UFC last night?
No.
No.
No, I did.
That's all.
John Jones, Bert Chael Sonnen. Nobody likes him. Greg Jackson still sucks cock. And that's the MMA roundup.
Is that Sonnen Punk's pal?
Aye.
Is that who that is?
He just totally cuts wrestling promos. It's like go to YouTube and look up old Superstar Billy Graham promos. It's like exact copies of that. Just 100 miles delivery. I'm the best in the world. That guy's shite. Just the usual stuff like that.
If you're talking about Punk's pals, he's actually got some decent wrestler pals at shit companies, like Samoa Joe and TNA and
Colt Cabana. Chris Hero. And he's shagging later now again.
Who, Punk or Cabana?
Oh, Punk.
Hero.
Right. CM Spunk.
That's probably why he's got a load of leg injuries. Yeah. No, because he botched the table at Mania.
Because you just imagine later would be absolutely filthy. The kind of.
But is she not an ex-druggie?
Aye, she's a.
So if Punk's straight edge, he hates drugs, but he doesn't mind the thing he's doing. Taking drugs.
Well, maybe CM Punk's looking at her as a project that he can make better. Going back to the straight edge society.
We should be getting pictured bald next.
Aye. Fucking later.
We'll get China.
She's made her way well down the fucking WWE locker room as well.
There's a lot of stories that her the reason she got wrestling training was because she was humping her teacher.
Might very well be.
Who's this we're talking about now? China or Lita?
Lita.
Alright, okay. I was going to say, because if you're pumping China, that's
fucked up.
That's a brave man that does that.
It's not exactly an exclusive club though, is it?
You could actually get her in a clit lock, I think.
I'm pretty sure it was her that was responsible for X-Pac's first tear in his arsehole. So.
She'd probably let Benoit do an altered cross face on her.
Oh dear. Well, on that bombshell, that was this week in professional wrestling. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And now it's time for the main attraction of the pod. We're going to be talking about Survivor Series 2003.
And now Survivor Series 2003 on Random Wrestling Review.
I think I'm the only person who's actually seen this in any great extent or watched it more than once or twice.
I've seen it a few times. That was a while ago.
Yeah. The reason I actually picked this to review as it holds a sentimental place in my heart, this pay-per-view, because when I first started watching wrestling, my first pay-per-view was Survivor Series 98, and I watched all the way up to the start of 2002. Then I moved house, and we didn't have cable in the flat we moved to, so and they couldn't use the dodgy box anymore, which was a pain in the arse. So I missed out on a lot of 2002 and 2003, and 5 years later, this was me getting back into the same pay-per-view, so it was like watching all over again for the first time. And it was just weird. Well, it was interesting to see all the new characters like John Cena, and like seeing how my old favourites like Angle and Benoit and Jericho, how they had all progressed, and like even like guys like Rock and Austin weren't wrestling anymore, which I didn't know at the time because I was only 11 and I obviously wasn't much of an internet smart at the time. So yeah, and it's a good fun pay-per-view, so let's dive in. Well, we start, we've got the intro video, which is just promoting all of the like main matches. Triple H versus Goldberg, who were fighting for the World Heavyweight title at the time. Kane versus Shane in an ambulance match. Team Brock against Team Angle. Team Austin against Team Bischoff, where if Austin loses, he loses his job, but if he wins, he gets to... The story was at the time that he was a co-general manager type guy, and he couldn't hit any of the superstars, obviously, because the boss can't hit the guys that's employed under him, which would be the case for any other company except WWE. But if he got to do that, if he won that match, he was able to physically abuse all his employees again. Which is fair, I suppose. And the real main event of the pay-per-view, The Undertaker versus Vince in a Buried Alive match. So
what annoyed me about this promo video is the amount of times the guy used the word survive.
Survive.
I almost turned it off.
Survive. What have you got to do to survive? Just,
I remember. It was a lot.
I actually thought it was actually a good intro for what we get now.
No, I think if there's one thing the WWE is actually good at, it's actually making videos.
Yeah.
Because I remember the one that I thought was the best, if you want to talk about videos, was the Punk one. See when they gave you 365 days, the way they built that up.
Yeah, that
was a great one.
They've done a lot of good ones with Punk. I mean, the one they done for Money in the Bank 2011 was really good, the way they all put it together. I mean, when they do a good one, it is really good, but they just don't seem to do it as often as they did like back then. I mean, you'd get these kind of videos every month, and now it's just really for a special occasion or a big feud to an end.
Or you can have 5 in the one show, hyping Rock Cena.
Yeah, well, fuck that. I said good ones. Right, so...
I thought all the videos in this pay-per-view, apart from I got a bit annoyed at the first one, but all the videos for all the matches were pretty good in this, pretty well put together.
I thought the end one was brilliant for Goldberg against Trips with Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but do you not think though that the videos were better back then because they actually had stuff to put in it, whereas nowadays the build is basically no build at all?
But
you know what I mean?
You could say that though, but if you're a TV executive or producer or any sort of fucking media background, you should be able to like polish shite basically. You should be able to look good. I mean, the amount of money and the amount of cameras and the amount of production that WWE have got, they should be able to make anything they've got look appealing in a quick 30-second video.
But you can't polish a turd.
Well, no, but you can.
You can't really make a guy like Ezekiel Jackson or Kozlov look good.
Well, at the end of the day, when you scratch out under the surface, a shite's still a shite, but if you put in a cake first, then you don't know till you've bit into it.
There'll be some sweet corn there as well.
Well, aye, so anyway, Survivor Series. The show opens with Michael Cole, of all people, telling us that we're coming from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, and the first match is Team Angle against Team Lesnar in a traditional Survivor Series matchup. And I counted, we had 5, 6 former, future or present WWE or World Champions in this match. The only guy in the Team Angle that was made up of Angle, Cena, Benoit, Hardcore Holly, and Bradshaw. Am I right? It was Bradshaw in that match, wasn't it? Aye.
Aye.
Only one with it going to win a world title was Hardcore Holly.
He did have that match though with Lesnar.
The Royal Rumble just after this, aye. But so John Cena comes out first, and as a doctor of thugonomics, when people actually like John Cena, when he actually got quite a good pop from this crowd.
He looked like a prick though.
I really did.
Aye, I totally agree. I didn't like him here.
Well,
I didn't like this gimmick at all.
really?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, I loved it.
I hate rappers and I hate white people that think they're rappers.
Well,
so I don't like it.
I'm going to read out now the transcript of John Cena's promo before this match, just to give a contrast of what he was then until he is now. And being the ghetto gangster that I am, this is obviously going to sound very good coming out of my mouth. So anyway, he starts. This whole pay-per-view is ass backwards. The main event is on first. I came through the curtain like a fetus. The rest of them is just afterbirth. And he waits for the pop. Nate Jones, Mark Morgan, they don't even stand a chance. I guess Shane and Kane are going to need to make some room in that ambulance. Lyrical genius.
See, that's not even how you meant to say ambulance.
Genius. I know, that's what. Not ambulance, ambulance.
Means must.
Yep. And it continues. And A-Train, Brock, they need to talk to the gravedigger. I am burying both of those giants. They need to make that grave bigger. This guy, inspirational.
But see, but that doesn't work, because see if he buries them just now, then, you know, it doesn't really
no space for Undertaker
later on. Exactly.
And then...
Or Vince would like give away the result.
Then the big finish. John Cena survives alone. I don't need no freaking stable. I wonder if I can trade my 4 partners for a one-night stand with Sable.
Hold on,
That
you've
was
missed
good,
the word. Didn't he use the word homie somewhere?
Oh no, this is it coming up. And Big
Alright.
goes, oh, and Big Show, don't think I forgot about you, homie. He's a giant, well I'm a giant whistle, so go ahead and blow me. Brilliant.
I hate people
this is
that use
John
the word
Cena.
homie.
But this is John Cena talking about fetus afterbird, shagging Sable, getting blown, who now comes out and says pippy.
Hold on, he did say with his was it when he's one when he did with Rock, he hold out a wee thingy and said blow me.
Aye, had his wee thing, aye, so he did.
Had his
Didn't
wee
he
thing
do
out.
His wee,
He had his wee thing out and told the Rock to blow him.
so anyway,
Didn't he do Will Ferrell style promo last year with Mr. Excitement?
yeah,
Big
That was
Johnny.
gotta love Big
What a
Johnny.
man.
People power.
Now, what was the point in him, you know, Big Johnny, bring him back.
So,
The point of him
Benoit
was-
comes out, oh, sorry Gav.
Well, the point of Big Johnny was it's filler since Barrett busted his elbow before WrestleMania. That's the only reason they came up with the 5v5 crap and the Big Show heel turn at Mania or whatever.
Last
There you
a
go.
year ago.
Last year.
So Team Angle is completed by Benoit, Bradshaw, Hardcore Holly, and of course the man himself, Kurt Angle, who gets a really big pop when he comes out.
But he still gets the "you suck" chance.
I know. He's at
They love him, but they're still chanting the "you suck."
the top
Which
face
I
on
find quite
SmackDown, but he gets you suck.
Yeah.
And then Team Lesnar, who was billed as the biggest ever Survivor Series team. I don't know if that was actually true or not, but it's made up of Big Show, who was a US champ, A-Train, or Albert,
Big Sweet
or
Tea.
Tensai,
Tensai.
or Sweet Tea, as he's now known. Nathan Jones,
Just shite.
who they kept promoting, was who served 10 years in jail. Only in wrestling would that be a good thing.
I didn't know who this guy was. See, when I seen him, I thought, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd pushed him because he was fucking huge.
No, they did.
But-
This was as far as he got, really.
I didn't have a clue who it was.
the typical. I didn't know, but I thought, who the fuck's this cunt? That's what I thought when it came out.
And
Maybe he's related to Nails,
yeah,
the big boss man.
yeah. And the Mounted have just got the whole prison faction coming up. Then it's made up of Matt Morgan and the, at the time, WWE champion Brock Lesnar, as Paul Heyman would say.
I
And
thought Brock Lesnar looked quite. Like you see, when Brock Lesnar comes out these days, he looks like he's just about to burst a blood vessel. He looks like he's insane.
yeah,
He looked a bit more sane there.
bit more.
Looks a bit more calm.
And Brock comes out, does his whole jumping on the rope thing, who gets attacked by Hardcore Holly, all hell in cells. I'm just going to leave that as a
Cells.
new word. I've made up. Hardcore Holly pushes the referee, gets disqualified, and Team Angle
Before the match
starts, before the bell rings, Hardcore Holly gets disqualified, and Team Angle's down to 4 already. You got to
But if you
Do you
contrast
realise that?
What's up?
You go Dutch.
So do you realise that 3 of the people on Team Angle had broken necks? Angle, Benoit, and Holly.
That's true.
And didn't Cena break his neck
I don't.
against Batista later on?
No, that was his what do you call it? Across his chest, that muscle.
Was that not the RKO from Morton on a table that did that? No.
He done that twice, that injury.
Because he tried to do the leg drop on Batista, and Batista missed him.
Yeah.
And he just slammed his back off the mat.
I think it was
See,
the
when he was-
shoulder.
So the
See when you're in this match, see when you're in this, we were talking about the Team Lesnar. See A-Train stroke, Tensai stroke, whatever he is, he has actually changed. Do you remember how hairy this cunt was?
Aye.
See? He was an
Now he
absolute
just gets a
bear.
regular wax. The hair's still be there. He's just he's
surely.
He's a polished turn down, that's all he is.
He's a shaving top.
Just discovered feet.
Right, so speaking of A-Train, he starts the match with Bradshaw, and they go at it for a wee bit, but A-Train's quickly eliminated when Bradshaw hits a clothesline from hell, which
Takes his head off almost.
basically Bradshaw's brilliant at hitting the clothesline. The best clothesline ever, I'd say, was from Bradshaw. It was
Closest one to him right now is the meat hook.
Yeah,
That is fucking...
nice. I'd still say Bradshaw's was better just because he made it look good. You could tell he was putting everything into it. He wanted to hurt the guy he was giving it to.
Well, it was from hell.
Yeah.
When the guys, so a couple of guys sold it and that they actually like kind of flipped all the way around.
Paul London was always good at doing that.
I'd like to see Ziggler take it.
Yeah.
Aye,
Oh god.
I was just going to say that.
That would be fucking beautiful to watch. So Big Show then comes in and eliminates Bradshaw quickly with a chokeslam. Cena comes in and then so does Brock, and they kind of just have a beat down in Cena for a wee while. Brock gets tagged in, Cena tackles him to the floor, they go outside and then they come right back in straight away. Cena has a couple of schoolboys for a 2 count. Brock just puts Cena just right in the gut and tags in Matt Morgan. Who'd have thought Matt Morgan? Yeah.
Do you not think that part between Cena and Lesnar is quite funny going back and watching it to what they were then
Yes.
to what they are now,
I mean,
in contrast?
Lesnar wouldn't even give like Cena the time of day back then, probably.
Mm-hmm.
See, even Big Show then, I mean,
He was a
Big Show's outfit, he looked like a big fucking fat Tarzan with that one strapped outfit.
I think he's one of the most underrated guys in that roster, by the way, the Big Show. I
He's been
watched an
brilliant
interview
the
where
last
he
year
did,
or two.
I watched an interview he did with Rosenberg, right, Peter Rosenberg, and he said he was asked about putting people over, and he just said he loves it. He just, people that sell for him. When I was listening to him, I thought just a genuine guy without the ego that a lot of them backstage have.
Yeah. So, Morty comes in and he does a couple of rest holds. He does a abdominal stretch and misses a leg drop, but regains control and tags in Nathan Jones, who makes his big fucking appearance in the WWE stage. Cena continues to get a beating. Lesnar comes back in. Cena regains control, hits a throwback for a 2, and then tags in Chris Benoit for the hot tag, gets some chops, a couple of strikes, suplex, Lesnar hits a hot shot, which I like, is something you don't see these days, a hot shot from the getting a guy's throat in the top rope, always an effective move. It was Stone Cold's finisher at one point in WCW. And but Lesnar hits a clothesline and tags in Big Show. Show hits the gorilla press, and he doesn't do this anymore, really, Big Show, the gorilla press.
No, he doesn't.
It was really one of his signature moves at the time. I mean, he'd do the gorilla press. He used to do it to Rey Mysterio all the time. I felt sorry for me.
But do you not think that now that he's a wee bit more trim, that he can do a lot more of the sort of athletic stuff now.
Well,
And work a different style than they had to back then, rather than just a powerhouse.
back in the mid-90s, Big Show was doing drop kicks from the top rope in ECW, in WCW, sorry.
But didn't
Yeah,
they bring him in as?
Sorry?
Didn't they bring him in? Didn't they bring him in as the giant? They were going to push him all the way. Then went, oh, can't be arsed.
He did. He got a couple of world title runs, but he was never the main guy. He was just like, you're the champion now, but it doesn't. But you're still not the guy.
I mean, when they originally brought him in, were they not going to?
Aye, well,
when they first came, were they not going to push him like mad?
what, in the WWF or WCW?
Aye, WWF when they brought him in.
Aye, they did. Aye.
I think they brought him in when they brought him in, and about after a week or two, they put him in a TV match against Austin, and Austin beat him, which kind of squashes him straight away.
That was just before Mania, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember reading about that much before my time, but I heard about it.
Well, the match kind of turns into a bit of a stramash at this point, as these matches usually do. I think the next one out was Morgan. He got an angle slam and was out for the free. Then Angle was out right after that. No, sorry. Then Nathan Jones was out for an ankle lock. That put Team Angle ahead for the first time. Then Lesnar came in right away, hits an F5 in Angle, which was a really good looking F5. And Angle was out, so then it was 2-on-2, Big Show and Lesnar against Benoit and Cena.
But can we just ask, what was the point in this? Why would the team captain be out early on? Well, early-ish. I always think you should have, logic would dictate that your team captain's your best. So
yeah, well, at the time it was Lesnar and Angle who were feuding for the belt, so it was just kind of to put one over and Angle, I suppose. But then,
well, was it? What, Lesnar was a champion here, wasn't he?
Yeah, Lesnar was the champion.
I was going to vote if you were going to get rid of your team captain, it would have made more sense for Angle to pin Lesnar. They were feuding, but that's logic. So.
Well, then, of course, right after that, a couple of minutes later, Benoit gets Lesnar in the crippler crossface, and Lesnar taps, and the whole crowd start chanting, "You tapped out."
Effective move.
Aye, that's
I thought it was very strange.
It was. The two main guys in the match are eliminated.
And your WWE champion.
Aye.
Oh, so I mean, I didn't really get that myself. But
No.
it's logic.
Fuck logic.
Then the finish of the match, Benoit goes into the ropes. Cena does a blind tag. Big Show hits the choke slam on Benoit. Cena comes in, hits Big Show with, I don't know if it was brass knuckles or his chain. Big Show bounces into the ropes. Cena hits a FU, as it was called at the time, not the Attitude Adjustment or the AA. And Cena gets the win. And at the end of the match,
Fucking surprise.
no, 10 years on and things still remain the fucking same. So at the end of the match, it was John Cena and Chris Benoit bumping fists and shaking hands as they remained as the sole survivors as Team Angle came out victorious. What did we make of this match?
I thought it was quite good, but some of the booking could be questioned.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad match.
That's
A bit sloppy at times, but
That pretty much sums up this whole pay-per-view. It was good, but the booking was a bit sloppy at times.
yeah.
I think Team Brock was too big to really
Yep.
entertain me in a way. Like if they had RVD or I don't know, Christian, just to take them as an example,
I know, but
I think it would have made it a bit better.
the whole build,
It's got more technical and agile guys.
the whole build at the time was so it was a team of giants against a team of quick technical wrestlers, and Cena and Hardcore Holly.
One of the biggest things I took away from this match was the difference in the Big Show now,
Yeah,
as opposed to 10 years ago.
yeah.
Because he's been great recently, whereas he looks like just a fat slob in this one.
Oh, this was around about the time where the WWE basically told him to lose weight or he'd get sacked.
Yeah. It was
I
definitely
think the Big Show, you remember back to Hell in a Cell, his match with Sheamus was tremendous. I thought,
Yeah.
Big Show, when he won the title.
I mean, the guy's a good worker.
He does some amount of work putting others over. I would actually like to see how many people the Big Show's helped. His numbers must be up there close to Jericho's, because Big Show does some amount of work for other people.
So after that match, we got a backstage segment with Shane and Vince, where Vince comes in and Shane's getting ready for his match with Kane, and Vince goes on about two brothers up against a father and son, and asking Shane, does he feel the fate, the spirituality, and he wants to know if Shane feels the same way, and Shane says, the only thing I feel is sorry for you. Oh, big pop for Shane. So Vince walks out and bumps into Stone Cold, and they start laughing, and one thing I noticed, Stone Cold's wearing a Fuck Fear t-shirt. Something you wouldn't get nowadays either. And so they do the whole, Stone Cold does his laughing spot where he starts laughing and just stops dead. It throws back to JR and King, and they talk about, I think Vince was laughing because he thinks Stone Cold's going to get WWE, and I think Stone Cold was laughing because he thinks Vince is going to get buried alive. Oh, great banter from the two. Then we get this.
So what I'm saying is Stone Cold was basically laughing because Vince is going to die.
Basically. Vince McMahon's going to get murdered tonight. Isn't that hilarious?
Live on TV.
Live on telly. Paying $14.95 to watch Vince McMahon get murdered. Doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, it's cheaper than flying to Saudi Arabia to see a live execution of that.
Aye. And so, the second match of the night was Lita against Molly Holly, who was doing her, anti-diva, but still managed to show more tit than Lita.
Which was a shame.
Molly was looking good in this.
I thought Molly Holly was fucking stunning. Both in the ring and out the top.
Lita though, come on.
I know, but did you see the size of the chebs in Molly Holly? They could feed a Wayne for a year.
Do you remember a couple of months later that Molly Holly was bald?
At WrestleMania 20 when she wrestled Victoria, or Tara, as she's now known as.
She's only 35.
But Molly Holly actually...
Yeah.
So, Gav.
Aye.
Who's 35?
Who's 35?
Molly Holly.
Is she? Well, she left the WWE and she went and become a missionary. And talking about Molly Holly and missionaries and just his feelings that I don't want to talk about on air. And speaking of which...
Leave them for your bird.
Yeah, of course. Who's doing the voiceovers for the wee intro bits, which was nice of her. Anyway, we get in the ring and King says there's a lot of raging hormones in the ring. There we go.
Yeah, dirty bastard, that King, back in these days.
But this was when it was actually entertaining.
It's actually quite sad though. You think this was probably the best the women's division ever was at the time. You had the most talented roster of women wrestlers ever in the WWE, and all the WWE wanted to promote is look at her tits. So Molly Holly against Lita, it was a decent match. I mean, there's no real point going too much into a Divas match. I mean, it was good for our standard, but still a fucking women's match, isn't it? Molly Holly got the win with a Molly go round, which was a quite impressive move, to be honest.
Did she not win it by...
No, you're right. No, she never. The finish was that...
Exposed turnbuckle.
She took a flaky when she couldn't get the free from the Molly go round. Took out the turnbuckle, then smashed Lita's face off it and rolled her up for the win. Decent match.
Another one.
Anyone want to add it to Molly Holly against Lita?
A lot better than what you get now.
Absolutely. Aye.
I think TNA.
And what'd you get? What'd you get? Where'd you go, Gav?
Just sort of similar point when you were saying about women's wrestling. I think TNA's on top with that compared to WWE because they've got top birds like Tara and Tessmacher that can actually take a bump and are not afraid to put it about a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What, you trying to say that the Funkadactyls aren't talented?
What was that?
Someone about the Funkadactyls.
Oh, Christ. fucking...
When you've got one of them that said that they get fucking kicked off with Tough Enough in the first night for saying their favourite match.
What's your favourite
Melina
match?
versus Ilsha Fox.
Imagine saying,
And Austin was basically like, fuck off.
imagine saying that to fucking Stone Cold though. What's your favourite match? Stone Cold Steve Austin asks you, what's your favourite match? Well, Steve.
Anything, you could have said any match involving Michaels or Jericho and you've been like, fair enough, fucking hell.
Well, Steve, of the years and years of WWE content that is available on the internet now that I could easily watch at hand, I think I'm going to need to go for Melina against Alicia Fox.
She said it with a straight face though.
I know.
She wasn't even joking. She was like...
See, to be fair, it's probably top 5 for me. At least top 5.
I'd probably say it was probably
dears.
the best match I'd seen if it was the only match I'd seen.
Yeah.
I'd probably...
See, to be fair, it probably was the only match she's seen. That's the thing.
Well, she probably just looked up random wrestlers before she went on the show and decided remember those two names.
Yeah. And the next match we got was Kane versus Shane in an ambulance match. They showed a promo vid for this, and this match basically all started out because Kane tombstone Linda McMahon for
It's fucking hilarious.
just because he was doing what every other wrestling fan in the world wanted to happen, and that was not see Linda McMahon any fucking more.
I just wish Kane had said to Shane, sit down, a tombstone Jim Law. I was wishing he'd just have said that.
Well, in the promo video, a significant line was that Shane says, as long as you're breathing in and breathing out, I'm going to make your life a misery. The breathing in and breathing out line would become significant later. Spoiler. Right, so Kane comes out first and actually blows up the fucking ambulance, and the ambulance driver shites himself from Kane's pyro and starts reversing, which I thought was quite funny.
Just the way Kane's his head was shaved. You notice that?
Yeah.
It was like half shaved.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck was going on with it.
Well, I suppose he was going around it. It was just after, well, not long after he exposed his face for the first time, so...
His eyes creeped me out.
Yeah,
They were fucking... Ugh.
they make up these eyes. They basically gave him eyeshadow to make his eyes appear darker.
It was still kind of freaky.
Yeah. Well, that was what they were going for, really. So Shane comes out, runs in the ring, and then does the most clumsiest looking fucking clothesline over the rope here, and Kane actually lands on his fucking head outside the ring. I mean, that could have been the fucking match there if Kane was paralysed from this clothesline from Shane.
Well, Kane has survived a fire in a burning house, and he is meant to be a monster, so I would hardly think breaking his neck would stop the big red machine.
Aye.
So what he believe that.
So it was a very spotty match, this, but it was some good spots. Shane uses the steps to attack Kane. No, sorry, Kane picks up the steps and Shane uses a steel chair to hit the stairs into Kane's face, and Kane falls off the stairs and Kane goes to town with a chair. Shane preps the Spanish announce table, hits Kane with the monitor.
Is this match before Kane electrocuted Shane McMahon's balls? Is this before
No,
that
this
match?
was after. This was the build up to this match. Kane having...
This after?
Aye.
Is this after he's electrocuted his balls? Wow, that was nice.
So Kane hits Shane with the monitor. Shane hits Kane with the monitor a few times while Kane's sitting in the Spanish announce table. Shane goes up to the top rope, very athletically, by the way. It was one jump onto the top rope, and hits the elbow through the Spanish announce table. And about 10 seconds later, Kane just sits up. So Shane goes running at the crowd, goads Kane to follow him. They go backstage and the camera cuts out for the first time, which had happened a lot during this match. And we see it comes back and Shane's running, and then it just pans to Kane who's run behind him, and we've lost Shane. He then appears behind Kane with a candlestick and whacks fuck him with that. And so Kane's lying down and he's coming back up, and Shane gets in a truck and fucking reverses into Kane and knocks him through this wee security booth, they called it. So that's him being drove through, hit with steel chairs, hit with steel steps, through a table, run over and through glass already in this match.
So that was quite a good spot.
It was a good
reverse
spot.
to the glass.
So Shane tries to get Kane onto a stretcher to get him into the ambulance. Kane Kane sits up, grabs Shane by the throat and fucks him off the wall a couple of times. I mean, that's a fucking hard bump to take for anyone, never mind somebody that doesn't wrestle.
That's what Shane does though. You've never. He just decides to do this all the time.
Some of the bumps the guys take was amazing. So Kane tries to drag us back into the arena. When the camera cuts out again, it cuts back and you see a couple of production people in the back of the shop panicking and trying to run out. We get back to the arena and Kane throws Shane on the hood of the ambulance, and Shane properly fucks his head off the windshield and actually cracks the windshield. I mean, I think that was genuine. I don't think that was a breakaway glass or anything. I think that was just somebody fucking their head off glass.
If it was a breakaway glass, I think
it would have broke away.
Just to make Kane look insanely tough, Shane would have went through it and he'd be sitting in the front seat.
Aye. But Kane goes back from this and uses the door of the ambulance, and this was another fucking hard hit that Kane took here. He took that metal ambulance door full force right in his fucking face. That would have been, not to put too fine a point in it, but that would have been fucking agony.
I wouldn't have been as much agony as Shane jumping onto the cardboard speaker.
No, well, let's get to that. Kane comes back, hits a big boot, and Shane's head bounces off the concrete at this point. Kane gets Shane into the ambulance, gets one door closed. Shane comes out, does the Matrix thing where he runs up the ambulance, hits a tornado DDT, and then he does the big ambulance cardboard speaker spot, which was cool looking. I mean, it was good. It was a nice spot.
It was a good spot, but they could have thought of something better than the cardboard. It just looked a bit cheap. I mean, it could have ruined the spot for me.
It was a conveniently placed cardboard, and that was there as well. Shane gets Kane into the ambulance. He gets one door shut. Kane comes back to life and drags Shane in the ambulance with him. They have a wee cuddle in the ambulance. Then Shane gets rammed into the side of the ambulance a good few times head first, and he gets choke slammed on the side of the ambulance. And Kane hits the tombstone and throws Shane into the ambulance for the win. And JR says about Kane, that is one sick son of a bitch. What do we think of this?
It's not bad. Sloppy.
It was just a total spot fest.
Too much backstage action.
Yeah, especially when the camera kept cutting out.
I don't think the crowd would have liked that very much. No. I wouldn't have. I was out in the crowd and you paid to see it, and it's always backstage.
Well, they had the big telly, didn't they?
You just keep talking. I'm just going to go for a quick push. Keep talking about Shane and Kane.
Do you know, I think it was quite funny that they decided, we'll throw him in the ambulance and we'll take the ambulance away, but we'll leave it, but we'll not have an ambulance for the guy that's about to get buried alive.
Well, he's getting buried alive, so he dies. So
that's a shame.
There's no point in having an ambulance for a dead man.
I suppose, but still, logic, you know. Oh Christ, there he's buried under a mound of dirt. Let's try and save him. Doesn't seem to work from there.
But if you compare that to Kane's other ambulance match, that was 2003. That was fantastic.
Against Cena.
2011. No, was it 2012?
2012.
Absolutely.
It was in preparation. It was in preparation for the boring Rock.
Perhaps no bite in.
No, never bit it in that. I don't think he's not here.
Right, so after that we get Josh Matthews, a very queer looking Josh Matthews, interviewing Brock Lesnar. And
he looked about 12.
He did. I think he was 12 actually. I think that's why. And Josh goes to Brock, can we get your thoughts on losing? Brock goes, I didn't lose. And Josh goes, well, with all due respect, you did tap out. And Brock claims he never lost, he never tapped out. And then Goldberg appears, and Goldberg just acts a dick, basically goes, "Hey, I'm Bill Goldberg, World Heavyweight Champion. Nice to meet you. Are you not going to wish me luck in my match?" And then from this, we would get one of the worst ever WrestleMania matches in a few months' time.
Was that the one when they were both about to leave the company?
Yes, and they just didn't give a fuck.
Goldberg was shit in the WWE anyway, so
Yeah, he just...
I don't think fans were really invested in him.
Nah.
Well, it doesn't help when Triple H does all he can to hold you down.
Well, but Triple H would put Goldberg over twice in their own pay-per-view.
Eventually.
No, well, he done it for this one. He won. Goldberg was the champion coming into this, and he won. So...
I know Goldberg won it off Triple H. Did they not have that fucking... did they not have the Elimination Chamber match at SummerSlam, which Goldberg was meant to win, and then Triple H went, "No, I'm winning," and he kept his title then and lost it. Was it Unforgiven he lost it to him?
It was Unforgiven he lost the title, aye. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So next up we've got Jonathan Coachman, the coach. Oh.
I loved Coach. I thought he was hilarious.
He's actually working on
I think ESPN.
For the actual American ESPN now. He's like one of the lead anchors.
I thought Coach was alright. He could it.
Yeah, well,
funny.
He comes out wearing a neck brace, and the story to this was that he just took a 3D from the Dudleys in the past Raw before this. And he comes out and he goes, "Oh, don't worry, thanks for all your cards, but I'm okay." And he goes to leave and he spots the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and all-round spunk monkey, Mark Cuban. He's just a fucking cock of a guy. The building they're in was the home ground for the Dallas Mavericks. So Coach does an interview with him and goes, "Oh, what are you looking forward to see?" And it's he says, "I'm looking forward to seeing Stone Cold kick Bishop's ass. Yay, cheap pop." And then they ask him about referees and they say all referees suck. Then Bischoff comes out, argues, says to the coach that, "Let me deal with this." And he's standing right in front of Mark Cuban at this point. Then he goes into the ring and challenges Cuban to come and face him man to man and face to face in the ring when he was just 30 seconds ago standing 2 feet from the man. Take that from what you will. So Cuban goes into the ring, pushes Bischoff in his arse. Randy Orton comes out, hits the RKO on Cuban, and that's the end of that.
I thought he sold it pretty well.
He did, actually.
Better than
some man.
Fuck, he's an arsehole. He's
Just imagine though that he went to them and go, "I wonder who put that idea," and they went, "Aye, fucking do it, fucking RKO me, I'll fucking take it."
He's one of these guys who just love media attention. I mean, he's never out the spotlight, this guy.
Well, I'd never heard of him until I watched this.
Oh. Well, we then cut to Evolution's changing room, I suppose, but it just looked like a fucking normal room that they got. And we had
orgy.
Basically an orgy. We had Triple H, Ric Flair and Batista, and at one point Triple H takes his top off so he can get his nipples rubbed by these women. And Ric Flair was actually quite good in this. I thought he goes, no shagging now basically, but let's drink a toast to the new World Heavyweight Champion. And Randy Orton comes in and goes, "Did you see me, Daddy? Did you see you done? Did you see me RKOing Mark Cuban? Did you see it?" And then, for his efforts, Randy Orton gets a nipple twister for one of the lassies for some reason.
Yeah, that's the most charismatic I've seen Orton in a long time.
I know. I actually enjoyed his Legend Killer gimmick. I thought it was quite good.
To be fair, he just goes about now as if he can't give he doesn't give a fuck.
No.
To be fair, now he just doesn't care.
Who's next? So after this, we cut back to Taz and Michael Cole, possibly the greatest commentary team ever. And the next match we've got is for the WWE Tag Team Championships between Los Guerreros, Chavo Guerrero and Eddie Guerrero, and the Basham brothers with Shaniqua, whose gimmick was S&M.
She's fucking definitely a man, I'm telling you.
I was just about to ask if she had a cut.
I mean, well, they basically had everything except for having a strap on. That's all it was missing, really.
She was fucking. That's first time I've ever seen this bird. She wasn't a bird. It was ridiculous.
remember eventually the Bastions would lose the titles against Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi. And the match that the titles changed, she gave a clothesline to Scotty 2 Hotty on the outside and nearly fucking killed him.
Doesn't surprise me.
Oh. Right, anyway, the story behind this was that Eddie Guerrero was going through a bad month. He'd lost the tag team titles, the US title, and the Bastions done the whole, one of your family's been in an accident, so you need to leave, and Chavo was on his own and got his cunt kicked in, and said to Eddie, "Oh, how could you be so gullible? When somebody tells you that your wife's been run over and you go, imagine doing that. What a guy."
This would be before Chavo turns on Eddie and
Well, this was the start of that. Aye. So for the match itself, the Bastions were actually quite good workers. They just had this gimmick forced on them by. I mean, this could have came from no one else but Vince. This was.
Have you heard the story about one of the Bastion brothers that Cornette tells it?
No.
Down in Ohio Valley Wrestling, that one of them was his top heel with like the Ziggler like hair, and he turned up one day and was bald, and he said that it was the creative team told him to shave it off because they wanted to see what he looked like bald.
Excellent. That is. Never mind the creative team. See, when someone says the creative team have done something, basically if Vince has done it.
But they just said to me, was it want to see what you like bald and just fucking shave it off?
Vince has basically sat there and went, "I want to know what this guy looks bald."
Just like, shave it off, there you go.
So the match itself was a solid tag team match. It was nothing special. We had two big incidents. Guerrero's basically cleaned house of the Bastions, then brung Shaniqua in the ring, and Chavo then bent Shaniqua over his knee and slapped her ass, which was nice. For
Don't know if I'd call it nice, but
for people who are into that sort of thing, I suppose. And the finish of the match was that there was a big stramash. Shaniqua distracts the ref. Danny swaps with Doug. He's sitting outside.
Win magic.
Eddie hits a frog splash on Shaniqua. Chavo spanks Shaniqua. Then they come back in the ring. Chavo goes for a tornado DDT on one of the Bastions. I can't remember what one. Kicks Eddie in the head by accident. Goes to check on Eddie. The Basham rolls up Chavo, grabs the tights and gets the free. Basham's retain. And the girls have a wee tiff after that. Not really much you can say about that, I suppose. It was just basically, it was to build the story of Chavo and Eddie, who were going to be going at each other after this.
Where was Vicky?
Where
the fuck was Vicky? To quote Eddie.
No.
Vicky was.
No. It's a SummerSlam with a ladder match, and Eddie stands there on the ladder with Rey Mysterio trapped underneath it.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, Gav.
Now, Vicky was meant to come in and shove it over. And then, was it Guerrero fell off? Like he was holding on to the briefcase, and he fell off and he buggered his leg.
Yeah.
He started screaming. Ah, fuck, where's Vicky?
Aye. Right, so.
And that would be the custody of Rey Mysterio's son match.
What government would allow that to happen? See, when you think of the logistics and the logic behind that.
Exactly. I want my son back. Well, how are you going to do it? We'll have a ladder match at SummerSlam and have a briefcase above the fucking ring for it. Jesus Christ.
Eddie was a brilliant heel though. And a brilliant face. It was just fucking brilliant in general.
I'm your pappy.
Hi, I'm your pappy. Do you know what the best big thing was? Like, see when he died, all the roster came out in these "I'm Your Pappy" t-shirts. I'm like, surely you could.
I know. I remember Batista wearing it, and I was like, Jesus.
Could you not get like Latino heat shirts or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. So after this, we get thrown up to GR and King, who were sitting at the top of the ramp at this time because this was where the announce table was in Raw. It wasn't beside the ring; it was at the top of the ramp because. This must have been a Bischoff idea because he done the same thing in Nitro. So
I think that was weird. I mean, I know they still say they watch it in the monitor, so they can only see what goes on TV. But you know why? What's the point of having them away up there? I just think it defeats the purpose a bit.
Anyway, so
It's a bit stupid.
aye. JR and King promote the Austin match, which is up next, and tell us that Shane is getting a CAT scan, which was actually genuine. He did actually need a CAT scan after this match, and it's no bloody wonder. You need to give credit to Shane, he took some fucking tremendous bumps.
He always does. He's quite athletic for
Yes,
a guy his
aye.
size as well.
He is quite
Do you remember the jump on the Titantron? I think it was 2000.
And Steve Black,
Yeah, I think it was.
aye.
It was like the height of the Titantron was ridiculous.
Remember the one they done with Angle where he got thrown through the glass, and they done it twice, and they had to suplex him into the glass 3 times before it broke, each time.
Yeah.
I think he just tried. That's what you see in that
Black
video,
guy.
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because Angle actually broke his tailbone doing one of the Germans through the glass at King of the Ring that year. Anyway, Team Austin against Team Bischoff. We get the promo video, which Bischoff fires Austin, and Linda McMahon comes out and tells Bischoff that he's acting egomaniacally because he's slagging a guy that doesn't work for the company anymore, as you do. So introduces the new co-general manager of Stone Cold, who then goes around just being Stone Cold and attacking all the heels. Linda McMahon tells him he can't touch anyone unless he's physically provoked. So they then see Austin try to get people to physically provoke him. We see Batista calling Austin a cock-sucking coward, which is nice. And then the big build up to the match, if Stone Cold's team wins, he gets to be the old Stone Cold and attack whoever he wants. If he doesn't, he leaves the WWE. So Bishop team's out first, which is Jericho, Mark Henry with Teddy Long, Christian, Scott Steiner with Stacy Keibler, and Randy Orton. Austin team was...
Remember Bischoff's team were all on a promise if they won.
What was the problem?
Remember that was that. Bischoff would give them all a favour.
Oh,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
won, like Orton's was getting out upon the title match, etc.
Yeah.
They were all promised a favour if they won.
And then Austin team's made up of the Dudleys, who were the World Tag Team Champions at this point. Booker T, RVD, who was the Intercontinental Champion. Shawn Michaels, who the crowd are really hot for, obviously, because he's like the hometown hero at this time. Even though Booker T is as well, but he never got as big a pop. Devon and Christian start the match, and it was actually, I was quite surprised to see how agile and quick Devon was working this match. When again, you compare him to now, 10 years later. Steroids, aye. So the first elimination was Scott Steiner, who was with...
He was awful in this match.
Oh well, Scott Steiner was just fucking awful in general about this time.
I thought it was Hulk Hogan at first when he came out.
What was the chainmail all about, by the way?
He always wore that. He even wore that back in WCW. I don't know.
What was the point in it?
Because he's a freak. That was his gimmick.
Oh, Freakzilla.
So anyway, Steiner's got the Steiner recliner on one of the Dudleys. Stacy Keibler jumps up to the apron, starts cheering on the Dudleys. Steiner comes over and goes to slap a bitch, but the Dudleys make the save, hit a reverse 3D, and Booker hits a bookend for the free count, and Team Austin take the league 5-4 for all of 30 seconds. Mark Henry comes in, hits the world's strongest slam and Booker T, and that's the three, and we're down to 4 each. What a start.
To see the difference in how serious Mark Henry's taken now towards the back then. Now is you always hear Cole keeps saying Henry's the most dangerous man in WWE, whereas back then he wasn't
But it was
billed as the sort of same monster he is now.
But it was basically the same gimmick he had.
I know, but it just depends how much they actually pay attention to this £400 absolute bear. I'm convinced, as you say, Shanique was a man. I'm convinced that Mark Henry isn't the full man. I'm convinced he's got some bear, some proper bear. He's an absolute.
Maybe him and Hagrid had a thing together.
Yeah. So Henry then attacks. The Dudleys try to attack Henry, who hits a double clothesline. He goes for the splash. He misses. He gets 3D'd. Then a 5-star frog splash from RVD. And gets a free, and we're down to Austin 4, Bischoff 3.
That was a good 3D, that one.
That was a good 3D, aye.
Because he got some height on it as well.
Yep.
I thought RVD was looking quite good in this match as well.
Oh,
he was quite.
Around about this time, RVD was just a brilliant worker. He still was at his prime. Yep.
Yep. And he was standing out, definitely the most so far.
So it's RVD and Randy Orton. RVD hits a springboard kick, then Rolling Thunder. He goes for a 5-star frog splash, but is knocked off the top rope by Jericho into an RKO out of nowhere for the free count, and it's now tied up again at 3 apiece. Randy Orton getting over who would later go on to feud and win the IC title from.
That was a long reign he had the Intercontinental title until he lost it to Benjamin.
He had it,
wasn't it?
Aye, he had it through WrestleMania anyway, aye. The next simulation was Devon, I believe.
Jericho and Devon it was.
Yep, Devon. Devon shoulder tackle on Jericho. Christian distracts the ref, who misses a pin. Y2J hits a swinging lariat for a free count, not even the walls or a line salt, just a lariat, and gets a free count.
That's what I think in seeing these elimination matches, some of the eliminations are a bit daft.
Yeah.
I always think rather than actually having proper finisher, and plus I'll never understand it, right? You're watching a guy there just take a finisher and getting pinned and you stand on the apron. Yeah. You know, it'd make more sense if you actually fucking ran in and fucking broke the thing up.
Yeah. So at this point Bubba comes in and gets his ass kicked by Team Bishop for a bit, and HBK gets tagged in for the first time and gets a massive pop. Christian and Y2J collide with each other, and Jericho gets a Bubba bomb. He's in a Bubba bomb that's reversed with a low blow by Jericho. Christian hits the unpretty, or not the kill switch, as it's now called. Why did they change the name of that move? I'll never know. The unpretty for a free count, and it's now 1 against 3. Shawn Michaels against Christian, Jericho, and Orton. Yeah. So at this point where Shawn Michaels gets busted open really badly. This would have been some blade job. 1 of 2 we'd see in short succession.
No one since I've watched wrestling can play this role like Michaels can, being the underdog left on their own.
Yeah.
No one can play it, and he just epitomises a sort of no surrender spirit in what he does. He's absolutely fantastic.
Well, he's like the quintessential underdog.
I do think that's exactly what he is. I think the only person I know they had said now they have Randy Orton over the next few years play the sort of survivor, if you know what I mean. But no one can play that role like Michaels can. I think it also helps because he has a super kick as his finisher, that he doesn't have to use much strength.
Well, guys, he is the greatest in-ring performer of all time, so it's not a surprise.
I'd absolutely agree with that.
But apart from Punk, I definitely agree.
Yeah. I think that's
Punk's not in the same league.
No, I wouldn't.
That's just to Great
Khali. I think this is definitely a Shawn Michaels pod, not a Bret Hart one.
Oh yeah, Shawn Michaels. Brett screwed Brett.
Brett's a fan. And if you don't like that,
Big Carter Angle.
Nah. Technically maybe, but performance-wise, HBK's better.
Yeah, just for the way Michaels can tell a story and play the underdog role.
I mean, it's different.
And still, even though, no matter what position he's in, you still believe he can. Michaels.
There's a difference from being the best wrestler and being the best in-ring performer.
Mm-hmm.
Angle might be the best wrestler, but Shawn Michaels is far and away the best in-ring performer. So anyway,
I would actually say that I wouldn't even say the arguments between Angle and
no.
Michaels. I think the person that can challenge Michaels, which is the Undertaker, because just how he can tell a story as well. Plus you've seen that when those two versed each other.
To be fair, Ric Flair's got a legitimate shout at it as well.
Oh, yes. Now, I only seen Ric Flair's later stuff, but I could still tell with Ric Flair doing his later stuff that though so much is not the pace of the match, but the way he could still sell it to people.
The thing with the Undertaker, though, when you see him, is that out of all these 21 WrestleMania matches,
it's only the last
more than
year.
half of them were absolute bullshit.
Aye.
So
I know, but you just think about how his matches, since he's cut down what he's done and just focused more on his matches, you can see how good he actually is. I think we'll see a big hole when he does retire, to be honest.
Yeah. So Christian goes for none prettier on Michaels. HB fights out of it, hits Sweet Chin Music for the 3 count. So we're now down to...
That was awesome.
That was good.
Sounded like he took his head off.
Yeah. So it's
amazing.
Shawn against Jericho and Orton. Then HBK and Jericho. HBK goes for a Sweet Chin Music. And it's reversed into the walls, which is then reversed into a small package for a 3 count, which was a good wee back and forth. I just
look at Austin's reaction here. That's what I thought sold that best. Austin thought it was over and seen him come back.
I just see. Did you notice the guy in the front row with the red hat? He kept having different signs during the match, and for who was ever in the ring.
No.
There was a guy right in the front row. He had 2 during this match, but I noticed, which is a sign with Randy Orton's face on it saying Orton is an idiot, and another one that said Jericho sucks like Paris Hilton. I don't even think that was. I think that was even pretty dated in 2003.
Well, she's not changed much.
Well, I suppose I.
I'll be googling that later.
Oh dear.
Still a young boy.
So, Orton and Michaels battle, and Michaels has just fucking lost so much blood. It's actually turning dark red in the mat at this point. Bischoff comes into the ring and kicks Michael in the gut, who was about to hit the Sweet Chin Music. Austin cleans house and stunners Orton. Bischoff and Austin fight up the ramp. Batista runs in, hits a Batista bomb on Shawn Michaels, and Orton gets the 3 count. Team Bischoff win.
Tell you what I liked about this was JR's commentary in the last 5-10 minutes.
I got really into it. Aye.
He totally just, I mean, it was quite a good 10-15 minutes anyway, but without JR's commentary, it wouldn't have been as good as it was.
No.
JR just makes so much. I remember watching Backlash 2006, McMahon and Michaels, the way JR can just sell things. You know, the way he gets you engrossed in the match with a total difference. I think he is the reason that the product was successful as well during the Attitude Era, because folk actually, you know, get involved in the match, whereas now with Michael Cole and Lawler just talking a whole lot of piss during it.
Yeah.
Why should you get interested?
Then we get Austin comes in, cuts a promo where he drinks a couple of beers and says, fuck it, you don't hear me say this a lot, but I fucking love you guys. Then the man of the hour, the coach, reappears, and the sign guy at this point had a sign for the coach which says, "Coach, guess where your mic is going." Nice. So the coach comes in and starts taunting. He's got hundreds of security guys with him as well, and starts taunting Austin and goes, "How does it feel to know you'll never ever be in the WWE?" And gets his arse kicked. So does all the security. Couple of stunners. Austin leaves. We'll be seen again in a couple of months.
Coach sold the stunner pretty well.
Yeah, well, he took enough to be fair to him.
Coachman's brilliant.
No.
Apart from his name, imagine being called Coachman. That's his real name.
His name is generally Jonathan Coachman.
I couldn't believe that. The coach, Jonathan Coachman. I couldn't believe it. See, at first I thought that was just some sort of nickname he had.
No.
When you realise that's actually the guy's name.
So, what did we think of this match overall?
I thought it was better than the last one.
Yeah. You were a lot more involved and interested in the outcome in this one, I suppose.
Yep.
I thought this match was the best one in the show, to be honest.
I remember watching this, well, not live, but as live, recorded from the night before, and watching that match and being genuinely gutted when Austin's team didn't win, and thinking, fuck, is that the last time I'm ever going to see Stone Cold?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'd never seen this, but I knew Austin left, but when I was watching it, I was expecting, like, at the end when Shawn Michaels and Austin were staring down, I was expecting a stunner.
Yeah.
But because obviously it was the first time I watched it, but obviously not. But Shawn Michaels made the match. Awesome.
I think you've got to give credit for Austin as well, because he engrossed me in that with the way he was just reacting to every near fall or pin.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What was the crowd like when Austin gave Orton the stunner? They'd been begging for him to kick someone's ass for so long, because it had been kept away from them because this is what the match was about, and it's just letting out some of that rage storyline. Mm-hmm. Plus he'd be back in about fucking 5 minutes anyway.
He was, yeah.
So.
Because he was a ref for the Goldberg and Lesnar match at WrestleMania. He was really heavily involved with all the build up for that.
And he was back for Benoit in the Rumble coming to Raw.
Aye.
Benoit's was that Benoit's first return? Second return?
I think
after he won the Rumble. Went to Raw.
Yeah. The second return, because he returned away to Eddie in the same night one time.
So he did.
Aye.
Because he came back from a injury as a heel, did he not?
Aye. Him and Eddie both did, aye.
Mm-hmm. Weird. Wasn't that funny that when you look at this event, that Benoit was in the opening bout in the Survivor Series match, and Eddie was in the tag match for the tag titles, and Eddie would go into Mania as WWE champion, and Benoit would go in to win the world title. This was just November as well.
Fuck's sake, Alan, spoilers.
Oh, we're not doing fucking WrestleMania 20 yet, so now.
So that was Austin against Bischoff. Decent. Well, a good story match, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we go back to Cole and Taz, who sit there with short looks on their faces and can't believe what's just happened when they're about to see a man getting buried alive. Yep, so this was Undertaker versus Vince in the buried alive match, and it goes to the promo video where Vince says the words, "As long as I'm breathing in and breathing out, you'll never be the WWE champion." See, I told you, it was all linked back.
Well, then that is true though, because Taker hasn't been WWE champion since then.
Well, he's been World Heavyweight champion a few times.
Oh, well, that's no WWE champion though.
Well,
so Big Vince was right.
True.
Huh?
True.
Huh?
They're just waiting until Vince croaks it.
Yeah. This
Oh well, that's probably happened.
yeah. This promo video was quite good. It done a nice bit at the end where Undertaker was burying a camera because he didn't like the camera or the cameraman apparently. Then we cut back to Cole and Taz, and we get Taz's keys to victory.
In a buried alive match.
Taz's keys to victory. And one of the ones for Vince McMahon was avoid the hole. Well, no shit.
Aye, but Vince loves his hole.
True.
Why do you think Kelly got her title run?
Why did she get released then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't take it in the other hole.
You want to make it in this business, you need to take up the arse end.
Maybe that's why China was Intercontinental champ.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, have you heard the story
Backdoor to China.
Have you heard the story about Stephanie McMahon and what she used to do?
What that was? She was on Howard Stern with it.
Oh, I had a strap on, didn't I?
Oh, with Austin.
Aye.
Aye. But she said that wasn't true when you watch on Howard Stern.
Oh, of course she's going to say
she
it's not
said
true.
Wasn't true.
She's not going to come
Tell
out.
us the story.
That apparently Stephanie McMahon in her office when she worked in the WWE has a massive strap on, and she fucked, among others, Stone Cold and Triple H with it.
Well, she did say on Howard Stern that Triple H loved Damon, so she could be, rather than
Aye.
getting it, she could be saying that it was him.
Childhood fucking just blown on at the wall there. Anyway, back to. I was going to say this match, but
Back to the sanity of someone dying.
back to the sanity of murder. So Taker comes out first and he's doing his American Badass gimmick at this time, which was
Terrible.
It was what it was basically. Vince comes out clasping his hands with a big shit-eating grin on his face. Comes into the ring and starts talking to Undertaker and basically just he's doing like the whole preacher thing, and then Undertaker punches him I Vince just starts pissing blood from his head. This was.
I think he cut things a bit too deep.
I think just a wee bit. That was one of the worst blade jobs I've ever seen.
Eddie Guerrero Judgment Day 2004 against JBL.
It was up with that. It was up there with that.
But do you not think Vince just went, fuck it, I'm going to bleed the most here, and just cut it?
Aye. So, basically, just Undertaker beats fuck out of Vince McMahon for 10 minutes, and then they got to the graveside. Vince looks like he's going to turn it around. He throws dirt in Taker's eyes, hits Taker with a shovel, and Taker falls in the hole.
On. You're missing the most important part when Michael Cole informed us that Vince McMahon threatened to have Undertaker's wife raped.
That's true.
And have her
no, it's worse than that.
Undertaker's children in his house burned down.
He threatened to do it himself. I'm paraphrasing.
Michael Cole sold it though, as if it's completely true.
I'm paraphrasing here, but Vince McMahon basically said, "I'm going to rape your wife."
So, remember, this isn't the PG era, guys. All cards were off the table.
Well, I suppose we had necrophilia just a few months earlier as well.
The Katie Big Loyal.
Alright. So Undertaker's in the hole. He sits up and drags Vince in the hole with him. I bet that's not the first time that's happened either. Taker gets out the hole, goes to the big fucking forklift thing. It's there, opens the door, explodes. The door just explodes with no damage to the truck at all. Kane appears, wrestles Undertaker into the hole, Vince out the hole, tells Vince to go in the truck, and lo and behold, the big basket thing's got hundreds of dirt in it. Comes down, buddies Undertaker, and Vince wins.
Kane takes Taker's glove first though.
Is it no his bandana?
Or is it his bandana?
Aye.
It's a bandana.
But wait a minute, see there's something, like where Taker's trying to climb into the big digger and it explodes. Doesn't Kane come out of the digger?
I don't know, I don't think you see where Kane actually comes from. Does he come out of the digger?
It looked like he came out of the digger. So I mean, how the fuck did he get affected?
Because it was it's Undertaker's magic powers backfiring on him, but the door was specifically designed to explode when the Undertaker touched it.
Can I just point something out here, just from a total kayfabe point of view? What would have happened if Shane won the ambulance match?
Well, Kane obviously wouldn't have been there because Kane would have been in an ambulance. And Kane wouldn't have been here to set up a WrestleMania 20 match.
Aye. So that was that. That should have been the
murder.
That should have been the end of the pay-per-view, basically. But it's not.
I thought that was a terrible match.
Just keep talking a minute and I go for the piss again.
See the logic with this though, like Vince McMahon, he's a millionaire, billionaire even, he's got loads of folk backstage. Why doesn't he just pay like 10 of them to come down and batter Undertaker?
I know.
No disqualifications, no count outs.
Well, I would have used the same logic. See when Ziggler was going to cash in, I know obviously from the he cashed in and was successful, but see the matches that he had against Del Rio before, why didn't he and Big E just get in the ring and start kicking the shit out of Del Rio?
Cash in after.
If that was me, I don't give a fuck about this match. Well, just come in and kick the shit out of him. I know Vince could have easily paid loads of folk to come out and bury Undertaker, rape Undertaker's wife, burn his house down, you know?
let's be honest, if it was all to logic, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. Logic's what makes, but the fucked up logic kind of makes it.
But for some, they need to put some like sort of half decent parts of logic in, if you know what I mean, rather than having it too out there.
I mean, it's got to make sense, like to a certain extent.
That's why I think the Punk Cena Vince McMahon 2011 storyline made sense, because they booked it on what they actually had rather than try to make random pish up. No, just booked it as a match, he's leaving, and he wants to leave with this. Bang. So simple. It's when they try and go like far too over the top that they end up fucking it up. It just looks fucking daft. But what I thought, what the most important point about this match is just what Vince McMahon, the length he's prepared to go to do something. I mean, he wouldn't actually need to be out and doing all this, blooding like hell and putting himself through this. See the amount of times Vince has been out there and done a lot of it himself when he wouldn't need to.
I mean, this seemed like it lasted for a fucking lifetime.
Yeah.
Because it was the same stuff over and over again in the ring and around the ring.
Rob, you're watching a man die.
But see, that's the thing, even take out the fact that it's a buried alive match, I always feel dead awkward watching a Vince McMahon match, because even the one where they had with Bret Hart was the worst. I mean, it gets to a point where you're just watching an old man getting beaten up.
I know.
But what you were watching Vince McMahon, you were watching Vince McMahon murder one of his
employees,
superstars, right? on live TV.
Oh dear. So after the match actually finished, it kind of just ended abruptly. There wasn't even any music.
My God, who's deeds?
No minute silence or anything.
Well, they never played McMahon's music after the match ended either.
Minutes applause.
Sign of respect for Undertaker dying.
They didn't have a minute's applause.
We go back. We went back to Taz and Cole, and it showed them at the announce table, and their table was just basically fucking covered in Vince's blood. Oh dear. And Taz tries to wipe it away with one water bottle that he's got. Then it goes up to G.R. King, who basically mentioned it for 3 seconds, but fuck that, we've got a main event.
It doesn't matter at this point, there's a guy lying over there dead. Let's get on with this.
Oh, we fucking... No. There's a guy who's at this moment struggling for breath as the life is slowly seeping out of him, but fuck that, Triple H versus Goldberg's on.
It's Triple H in the main event, what do you expect?
True.
He's the main guy.
We get the promo video, which was good again. This whole match was built around the fact that Goldberg won the title of Hunter at Unforgiven, and then Triple H took out a bounty on Goldberg for somebody to take him out. And you seen like Mark Henry and a couple of people attack him. It was eventually Batista who broke his ankle doing the whole chair wrapped around the ankle spot, and he got $100,000 for his endeavours. So that was it. Goldberg's injured and he's wrestling Triple H for the title. Triple H comes out with Flair, then Goldberg comes out, and they kind of brawl before the match starts, and Flair is in the ring going mad, gets a backdrop for his troubles, and
Flair was in this too much.
He was. Flair kind of rolls out the ring and the match begins, and for the most it was just a fucking typical Goldberg match. I'm not going to go into it too much detail whatsoever. Evolution comes out. Goldberg cleans house of Evolution. Hunter goes for the sledgehammer and gets speared. Goldberg goes to pick up the hammer, and he throws it away and goes, "No, I don't need this because I'm Bill Goldberg." Hits the spear and the jackhammer for the win. Goldberg retains and gets a fucking lukewarm pop at best. Wow. So Goldberg versus Triple H.
It was a pile of crap.
Wasn't great.
There was,
and I thought, because I watched up until 2002, I thought here Triple H looked pretty chubby compared to what he was in 2000. He looked a bit out of shape, I thought. I don't know whether it was just me, but
I thought Triple H looked a bit out of shape at Mania as well this year.
Oh, he's not like wrestling full time or training full time now, so it's expected. But he was like a full time guy back here, and he was quite chubby.
I know. Everybody here agrees he's probably one of the best of all time, so should definitely be at the top of the card every time he comes on. But he should be in a wee bit of a better shape.
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, you don't need to when you're shagging Steph. Let's be honest.
or taking it from her.
Well,
Let's not forget that.
if we have to believe the rumours that I started. So
You started.
I would see this match. Do you think the match, like the ending, made Goldberg look strong or Evolution look weak?
I'd say both.
The biggest guy one of the bigger guys on the roster, Batista, just gets laid out with one shot.
See, people always talk about how Goldberg was underused in the WWE. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think the WWE tried to do everything they could to make Goldberg a success in the company, but people just, in 2003, just weren't interested in Goldberg anymore.
And the first thing they did was put him over the Rock.
I know, exactly.
That was the biggest star at the time, so I mean, that's a huge push straight away.
He went over the Rock, he went over Triple H, he went over Brock Lesnar when he was leaving the company.
Yeah.
So
I think just once Goldberg lost his streak, he lost his appeal.
Aye. So that's Kevin Nash.
To be fair, at that WrestleMania match, it wouldn't have mattered who won, because
true.
Both of them were fucking awful anyway. That's why I thought they should have had that match. They two go against other folk, so they could lose on the way out, rather than just having one of the most boring things I've ever watched in my entire life.
Remember though, it was WrestleMania 20, so they were looking for like dream matches.
Marquee.
Basically. No, but Triple H versus Goldberg, not very good. So that was Survivor Series 2003. Overall, what did we think?
Average.
I'd say it was quite fun.
Yep.
I'd say the Austin Bischoff team match, thanks to Michaels, drags it up a bit for me, because I thought our match was excellent.
There's a lot of things they could have done better on that, but there's a lot of things they could have done worse.
I'm just laughing.
Well, if you think about it, you get live murder, right? You get
a guy who needs a
folk getting beaten down so bad that needs to go on needs to get taken away in an ambulance. A guy with a shattered ankle wrestling. A guy having 5 other people fight for his career. Fight for his career and or fight so he can batter folk. You know, it was interesting.
There's some big black dude getting bent over Chavo Guerrero's knees and getting spanked. So
I think the highlight of it.
I think the live murder takes it up 10 out of 10.
I think the highlight of this pay-per-view for me was definitely 100% Molly Holly's jabs.
That's true.
You're more of a Shaniqua fan though, Rab.
I'm not gonna lie. He or she did do it for me.
So what would we give this out of 10?
6.5.
6.5.
6.
Well, Dutch has had lots of technical issues today, as his last 2 comments on the Skype feed has been shite pay-per-view, 4 out of 10. Diplomatic. What would you give it, Gav, as someone who was too young to be allowed to watch wrestling at the time? Still there? I must be away at his bed.
No, I'm here.
What'd you give?
Probably 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Dutch has just put there he's wanking to Molly Holly's jabs, which I don't blame him. Anyway, for pure nostalgia factor, I'd give this a 7. Well, that's all for this. Next week, I've got a real challenge for you.
Are you going to get to know now? Or?
Oh yes, I'm going to tell you now.
Big build up this one.
Yep.
Ooh.
You're probably not going to enjoy this, but
I won't be on it next week because I'm going to ICW.
Yeah, well, shout, I go to ICW, then listen to our pod. Rab's not going to be here, but we've got a few more contributors, like hopefully Dutch will be, or he might be going to ICW as well, actually, but we'll have people here.
Dutch doesn't.
So this is for Gav and Alan.
Yes!
Neither who were alive when this pay-per-view was broadcast. We're going to be looking at In Your House 1.
Dutch is going to be on.
Dutch, well, he'll be looking
Go
at.
to XC Dubs.
He'll be looking at.
So what year is that?
In Your House is 89, I believe.
Fucking hell. Jesus. It's 1989. Jesus.
We've got a lot.
Who's on this? Who's on this?
Can't even remember the card now. The settings, I'll it.
Because there's going to be people coming up on this that I've not even fucking heard of, nor watched, nor care about, nor can I really criticise them because I don't know them.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Just for this year.
Diesel, Psycho said.
Yeah. It's the new generation thing. Sorry, it wasn't even that late. It was 1995. I'm saying 89.
95?
Right.
95 I was alive, so that's alright.
I wasn't.
No.
The Ramon, Jeff
How old
Jarrett,
were you, Gav? Were you 96?
Aye. 1996.
Well,
Vince
I
was
will
on
hear that
commentary.
Gav was just a bus condom waiting to happen in 95.
I think we should have a idea of what year we can go back to.
What?
I think we should have a limit here of what year we can go back to.
Well, let's say no further back in the first WrestleMania. So that was what?
Aye.
That's what, 84?
84.
84 is the limit. Well, that's what saying he's been watching from the 86 Royal Rumble. Well, so yep, next week that's going to be In Your House 1, which I've just got to hear. The main event was Diesel, or also known as Kevin Nash, against Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship.
Two big guys. I mean, I've not seen much of Kevin Nash, but I thought
Kevin Sash?
I thought whenever I'd seen him, I thought it was pish, and I've also seen him walking and tearing his quad. So, not really exciting about Kevin Sash, to be honest.
Right, so shout outs and thank yous. Gav, would you tell your mate for doing a logo?
Right.
What's his name?
Ryan.
Ryan, well thanks Ryan for doing a RWR logo, which is on the Facebook page and will be on the Podbean account after I upload this. A big thanks to my friend Callum Marchetti, who done the theme tune for us. You can catch him on Facebook at Still Alive and on Twitter at Callum Alive. Please check out his stuff, he's really good, and I'm not just saying that because he's my pal. Also thanks to my girlfriend for doing the voiceovers at the start of the show and in between the segments.
Yep. Thank her.
And you're not going to check her out on fucking anything, so that includes you, Gav.
It's too
Too late.
Oh, fuck. Anyone else got anyone they want to thank or say hello to their mum or anything?
Yeah, I would like to thank. I'd like to thank you, David, for inviting us all on, and I'd like to thank myself.
Mr. Ratings.
Mr. Ratings, Alan McKenzie.
I'd like to thank myself. Yep, I'd thank myself.
Oh, give us your bit of handles. Where can people get you if they want to listen to your views?
Like, at the Alan McKenzie. The Alan McKenzie. Right.
Gav.
At Gavman FF.
And Rab.
Rob Ralston.
Rab Boston. And you can find me at David RWR, and please remember, for fuck's sake, to follow the pod at RWR_podcast. Also find us on Facebook at Random Wrestling Review. And thanks for listening to this first show. The sound quality isn't going to be great. Basically, we're the little pod that can. Make this your pod. We have not got the audio or technical aspects of some of the other stuff out there. All we've got is... Yet. All we've got is a passion and a love for professional wrestling, And if you enjoyed this, please keep listening. Make this your pod, because it can go as big as everyone on here wants it to be. And why is Dutch just posted up the Facebook link from my girlfriend? Oh.
Not how when you were saying with a little pod that can.
Aye.
Well, with a little help from someone that can't, it might we might know.
I ain't shy.
Having help from someone that can.
Right, anyway,
if someone can.
Before the entire Scottish wrestling community starts perving on my girlfriend, I think that's going to end it all for me. I am your host, David Marshall. We'll join you again next week for In Your House 1.